Well, let's get going because we get together so rarely, all of us, and I don't want to waste any time. We've got some good juicy stuff to talk about today. So first of all, welcome all. I think I have hopefully talked to most of you since I've got back from my sabbatical, and hope everyone has had a great summer and is sort of, headed into the winter and the holidays. What we're going to do today is talk about the topic in general is our end user support, providing end user support. Now, I know this means different things to different groups. Some people are supporting both admins and sort of direct end users, some direct end users. So as always, there's not one universal approach, but we have asked Camille Grimsley from Girls on the Run to lead this session. So we'll be seeing a demo of the Girls on the Run portal by Camille, and then she'll also be talking about sort of various components around end user support and how they're approaching it. And then, as always, we'll leave some time at the end, hopefully, to open up for discussion so we can hear more from the rest of you about your challenges, your successes, questions, and anything that you'd like to pose to the group. So again, for those that have just joined, you should see a poll. If you could submit some poll questions towards the end or when we start moving towards end user support, I'll share those results so we can see all of those. But without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Camille. And while I do that, I just want to give a little bit of history because I really I feel really personally invested in all of you, but Girls on the Run in particular, just as a little history, and I don't know, Camille, you might not know this either. But I was a Girls on the Run, close the open poll. Okay, sorry, I have to close the poll first. Learning. I was a Girls on the Run volunteer coach a few years back for my daughter who was in, I think, 3rd or 4th grade at the time. And as I was going through all of the training programs, I was thinking, I think they could really use an LMS. And I think I know a person that might be able to help talk to them about it. So I really just reached out cold to Girls on the Run and sort of knocked down some doors and found my way into Mandy and team and others that were there and started the conversation about some of the opportunities that the Impact Grant and an LMS might be able to bring them. And, that alone did not do it. They had an amazing and dedicated, diligent, deliberate team that has been working from the start. And they actually leveraged our Plus portals, our Ready portals first, really did some great pilots, figured out how they were going to run it with their audience, put a ton of work into developing the blended training programs, and have now, really done an amazing job reaching the numbers that they're reaching, and again, we're just putting the thought and the deliberation into all the work that they do. So super excited to have you here overall as a grantee, and very excited to have you at a point where you can really confidently, I think, showcase a lot of the great work that you have been doing and lead us in this session and on the discussion.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Yeah, now let me try again to make you presenter. Oh, sorry, Becca, that didn't mean to go to you. Let's try Camille. You sort of switched places on my screen. Okay, do you see that you have presenter rights?
Yes, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can everybody see the PowerPoint?
I can. Yeah?
Yes. Okay.
I will assume that means everyone can.
Great. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Camille Grimsley. I'm the System Support Specialist at Girls on the Run International. And as the System Support Specialist, I am responsible for training Girls on the Run staff at councils across the country on how to use technology systems, performing technical troubleshooting, and providing administrative support for the LMS, for our content management system for our websites, and also for our CRM platform and the intranet. So Girls on the Run, for those who don't know, is a nonprofit organization that was established in 1996 here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we inspire girls to be joyful, healthy, and confident using a fun, experience-based curriculum which creatively integrates running. And so our vision is a world where every girl knows and activates her limitless potential and is free to boldly pursue her dreams. So as I said, Girls on the Run was started here in Charlotte, North Carolina in 1996, which was not very long ago, with just 13 girls on the first Girls on the Run team. And today we've grown to over 200 Girls on the Run councils in all 50 states and Washington, D.C. And with the help of over 100,000 volunteers over the lifetime of the program, we have served over 200,000 girls. We served our millionth girl in 2015, and so we are well on our way to our strategic goal of serving 2 million girls by 2021. We offer 3 different programs. There's Girls on the Run, which serves 3rd to 6th grade girls. There's Heart and Soul, which serves 6th to 8th grade girls. Those are both after-school programs. And then we are launching Camp Goater, which is a week-long program intended to be implemented over summer breaks and spring breaks and winter breaks, and that is going to serve 3rd to 6th grade girls as well. And so all of our programs are delivered by trained volunteer coaches. So our organizational structure plays a huge part in how we offer end user support for the LMS. We operate using a federated business model, which is like a franchise. Girls on the Run International is the headquarters, and each of our 200-plus Girls on the Run councils operates as its own entity, sustaining its operation and implementing the program in its territory. So the councils recruit the sites, which are usually schools at which to hold the program. They recruit the girls to participate in the program, and they recruit the coaches to deliver the program. And so here at headquarters, we support the council by developing and providing them with the standardized curriculum for the programs, the standard training method to train the coaches, and various marketing and technical and administrative support. Well-trained staff, volunteers, and board members are essential to ensuring a quality experience for all girls and advancing our mission, vision, and strategic goals. So we are super excited to be using Cornerstone On Demand to meet our various training needs. And we have branded our portal the Goater Learning Academy. Our current primary use of the system is to deliver online training to our volunteer coaches, which is our largest user group. So we began implementing the LMS to provide training to this group of users in particular, and we've learned so much about end user support by starting out with our largest user group. So the coaches work directly with the girls. They impact the program, they drive the program. Because they're working with the girls and delivering the program, they shape the Girls on the Run experience for the participants. So their initial training is essential to ensuring that all girls are receiving the same quality experience and that our mission and vision remain at the core of the program. So that's a tall order. With this in mind, we developed the Girls on the Run National Coach Training to prepare the coaches to provide the best experience to the girls. National Coach Training uses a blended learning approach, so we have the online component as well as the in-person component. And so they first have to complete several online modules that set the foundation for the in-person training. Our online module topics include Goaterology, which is an overview of our organizational mission, vision, and culture, Policies and Procedures, which reviews the overarching national policies and how they apply in everyday situations, Curriculum Overview, which goes over the components of the curriculum, the program curriculum, and how to deliver a lesson, and Girl Development, which reviews the unique characteristics of girls in the age groups that we serve and how to best interact with them. So we created these e-learning modules to be fun and interactive and engaging for the coaches, and by taking out all of that core information and putting it into the online platform, now that allows us to capitalize on the in-person time. So the modules really set the foundation for what they're going to be doing in the in-person training, building upon those modules and teaching the core concepts of positive youth development and how to put those concepts into action. So the goal of National Coach Training is to provide our councils with improved quality, consistency, and to help retain the coaches and also ensure a great experience for the girls, of course. And so we could not do this without the Learning Academy. In addition to initial training, our volunteer coaches, they receive lots of materials and resources to prepare and assist them throughout the season, from us at headquarters as well as from their local council. So we provided additional resources to the coaches on a coach portal on our national website. Then the local council also has what's called a coach corner on their individual websites where they would house resources. And also local councils would sometimes email resources to coaches or keep them in, keep the files in private social media groups or sites. So when we began using the Goddard Learning Academy for training coaches, we also migrated all of the additional resources from our National Coach Portal as well into the LMS as a move to streamline things for our end users. Additionally, we have encouraged the councils to upload their additional resources to the Learning Academy as well. So we've been implementing for about a year and a half now, and 50% of the councils who are using the system have opted to migrate their additional resources into the Goddard Learning Academy as well, which is eliminating a lot of confusion for our end users. So that's pretty awesome. We have the same situation of having multiple sites to access resources. That applies to council staff and board members. So we have the organizational intranet where we house a lot of important files, and we have a social media-like site that we use to communicate with each other. And so with the next phase of our implementation, we are going to be migrating all of our staff-related professional development resources into the Learning Academy as well, and we're really excited about moving forward with that. So I'm going to jump into the portal in a moment, but here is a view of a coach's transcript. And so this coach has the required training curriculum for the National Coach Training, which is Coach Training Girls on the Run V3 there. And they also have a user resource. So we assign every coach a user resource guide each season, which walks them through how to access and complete their training. So that's just one of the methods that we put into place to try to support the coaches as they're accessing the system, is that we provide them this document every season. This coach also has a coach resource curriculum, which consists of the various video tips and documents that were previously housed on our coach portal website. And this coach has a learning object that was uploaded by their specific council, which contains some policies and procedures that are relevant to that council. So per National Coach Training, the coach training curriculum and the user resource must be assigned to all coaches, and then it is optional if they will be assigned the coach resource or any council-specific materials. So, I also wanted to show you a quick view of what our coach training curriculum looks like. There are the 4 modules, training modules bundled together that the coaches need to watch in preparation for in-person. And then this is a view of the coach resource curriculum, which we have broken up into sections so that the materials are easier to find. With over 200 councils across the country and tens of thousands of volunteers each season, we went the logical route of making each council responsible for assigning training to their own volunteers. So we have each council set up as a separate division in the portal, and we have the council designate one or two individuals to take responsibility for being the admin. Well, we call those people the Council System Administrators, or CSAs. We've created a specific security role for the CSAs that constrains them to their division for all of the different security settings. And the CSAs undergo a robust initial training before being assigned to the security role. The CSA is responsible for creating groups, creating learning assignments, uploading council-specific learning objects, tracking coach completion of the required prerequisites for in-person training, staying up to date on system functionality changes, and most importantly, the CSA is responsible for providing end-user support to their coaches. So there are two layers of support that we are operating on here. I train and support the CSAs, and the CSAs train and support their coaches. And so I have a little teacher here because the analogy that I use when I train our CSAs is that the Learning Academy is a school because it's a place where we deliver training. Their council is their division, and their division is like their classroom. And as the administrator, they are the teacher in their classroom. They're responsible for all the learning needs for their students in their classroom, which would be their coaches and their council. So that's the analogy that I give them. Our council staff are nonprofit leaders, many of whom have backgrounds in education and youth development and fundraising, and not necessarily IT or the technical things. Some councils are a one-person show with just a single individual who is responsible for all the aspects of operation and program implementation for their councils. Some councils are run by all volunteer staff who are juggling running a nonprofit with their daily paid jobs. So my goal is basically threefold. I want to prepare the CSAs as thoroughly as possible. I want to do whatever it is that I can to make being an admin a positive experience for them in the Learning Academy. And I want to assist them however I can to ensure that their coaches are having a positive end-user experience in the Learning Academy. And so we have designed some very extensive tools for our council system admins, and they are the initial CSA training that they go through. The training is designed to be completed in 4 sessions and typically spans a month long. We have a CSA user guide, which is nearly 100 pages, and it contains step-by-step, click-by-click instructions with screenshots of how to perform every admin function, from accessing a user record and resetting the password to creating groups to creating learning assignments. It's all there thoroughly laid out for them. We also use the community feature, the Connect feature. We keep all of our CSA resources in a community for them to access. We hold seasonal spotlight webinars where we go over the relevant cornerstone releases that will affect their use of the system and their coaches' use of the system. And then, of course, I am here, I feel like 24/7, but really 8:30 to 5:30 for them as well. So one useful diagnostic tool that we have used is the GOTR Learning Academy Experience Survey. So we recently conducted a survey to gauge how comfortable our CSAs are in the Learning Academy. And the survey covered a range of topics, from how they felt about initial training to how they felt about the resources that are available to them, to how they just in general feel about the Learning Academy and about the online modules that the coaches have to complete. And so we conducted this survey to identify areas of success as well as areas for improvement. And so what we found was very positively that, I broke the results up into respondents who have been CSAs for 1 or 2 seasons so far, and respondents who have been CSAs for 3 or more seasons, seasons being fall and spring, the times of the school year that the program is implemented after school. So the majority of our CSAs said that their experience with the Learning Academy has improved over time. So we were really excited to hear that since we've been implementing for about 1.5 years. However, more CSAs than I was comfortable with did not really feel equipped to troubleshoot end-user challenges. And we discovered that about half of the councils are using the Learning Academy to upload their own council-specific learning objects. So that's great that they're using the Learning Academy more. I think that's an indication that they're getting more comfortable in the Learning Academy. And there were also some results here that I didn't put on a slide, but 90% of councils were just really pleased with the content of the actual online classes, so they understand the value and the benefit that the Learning Academy has for their coaches. So that was really wonderful to see as well. So I really was excited to take the feedback from this survey and revise some of our tools to better assist the coaches. The CSAs. So one of the things that I did was I updated our council system admin user guide. And this is just a view of the table of contents, how extensive it is. I rearranged some things and I put this pink call out here to highlight the most important steps that they need to complete. And also the document, when it's viewed as an electronic PDF, is clickable, so you can click on any place in the table of contents and it will take you directly to that section, and also the link at the bottom of each page to take you back to the table of contents. So just little functionality changes like that I think will make it easier for the CSAs to understand the materials that they have, because as helpful as this document is, it is a robust document, and it can be a little intimidating to people sometimes. Another thing that we did was that we revised the initial training. So in trainings past have been offered 4 sessions, 2 sessions per week, and some of the feedback was that it's a lot of material, which it is. Learning how to be an admin in the Learning Academy is a lot. Also, some of the feedback was that it went very fast. So I revised the learning objectives, reorganized the content in the training so that hopefully it would flow a little bit better for the CSAs, and we offered the webinars now as recorded instead of live sessions. We offered them over the course of 4 weeks instead of 2 weeks. We included knowledge checks, which are little quizzes after each of the sections to gauge what their understanding of the material covered is. We offered weekly live office hours to check in on their progress. And then we concluded with a live webinar, which was really fantastic because I got to take the results of their quizzes over the weeks and identify what the pain points were for them and focus our live conclusion on the areas that they were having the most trouble with. So that was very helpful, and we just concluded this first wave, well, it's really wave 7, but we concluded wave 7 last week. So the results of the survey are rolling in, but we've received largely positive responses. Even some of our previous trained CSAs decided to retake initial training, and we've heard lots of good things about it.
Hey, Camille, this is Amy. Would you just talk for a minute about how you run the office hours? Because I know that's something that's come up with a variety of different groups.
Yes, so I actually use the ILT feature in the Learning Academy to set up ILT sessions, and I offer, for grade 7 of CSA training, I offered office hours once a week for an hour every Thursday. For going forward, we're planning on implementing office hours and offering those to all CSAs, regardless of whether they're in training or not. And I plan on doing those probably 4 times a week in the morning and afternoon on 2 different days. But I use the ILT feature. I promoted the office hours. There's a link in my signature where councils can sign up for the office hours. And I think in every email communication, I pushed the office hours concept. And I actually took the concept from Cornerstone on Demand, which is where we get together and we go in a round robin style. I limit the office hours to 10 participants, 10 or 15. And we just go round robin style, and a person asks a question, we talk through it, and then we move on to the next person. And that way everyone can learn from everyone else's questions. So some of the most common admin issues that we see. So I've grouped our issues into most common admin issues and most common end user issues. So the most common admin issues that we have run into are that a user is not showing up in the Learning Academy, and so the integration of our CRM software, where all of the data comes from, and our API, explaining that to the CSAs has been it's been very challenging because it's a complex topic to broach. And so I've basically just tried to make it as simple as possible for them, and I've revamped some of our troubleshooting resources to include answers to this question, which is the most asked question. It's just the most difficult to address sometimes. Another common admin issue is that a coach did not receive training or the welcome email. So our learning objects are configured with a welcome email that when they are assigned, the coach will receive an email that says they've been assigned training, provides their username, login instructions, etc. However, we were running into a massive concern. A lot of councils were saying that coaches were not getting the emails. And so one of the things that we have done to mitigate this issue is that we've utilized an email relay service, which is SMTP2Go. So basically, the Learning Academy emails are routed through SMTP2Go's servers, and that is going to increase the deliverability rates. So SMTP2Go has been a huge help for us. We've also, another strategy that we've used is contacting, so there are certain school districts or workplaces that have firewalls that are blocking our emails. Sometimes even SMTP2Go can't get those emails through, but we found that contacting the organizations at large to whitelist the email address that our emails are coming from has been helpful to that. And so those two things together have really mitigated the issue of coaches not receiving the welcome email. And, I'm sorry, was there a question?
You know, I was just going to pause there because I know that that's a hot topic for people. So I thought, anyone have, you know, and I'd ask Camille to speak about that specifically because I've really found some solutions or worked hard to find solutions that will help the emails getting through. So I wanted to pause just to see if anyone had any questions on that piece or comments or what other things that people have tried when it comes to email challenges.
I'll also add that this took some coordination with GPS, so there were some questions that we had to answer, such as what from address or domain the email would be sent from, what servers or IP addresses we would be using, and how many connections, concurrent connections, would our email server prefer. So there were some questions that we had to answer internally, and then we created a GPS case for GPS to assist us in setting up the relay, if that helps.
So I think maybe I got that wrong. So SMTP to go was coordinated through Cornerstone. That wasn't something that you separately layered in?
I have Sharon Williams, our VP of IT and Risk.
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry. Who doesn't
hey,
have
everybody.
Much of a voice.
Yeah, sorry about the voice. Yeah, so we set up SMTP to go. We went over to SMTP. We created our account. We got set up with them, and then we pull like the IP address and all the information that Camille just mentioned. We forwarded all of that in a ticket to GPS, and then the engineers configured it on the back end.
Got it. Okay, helpful. Thank you.
This is Emma from CSH. So were you people weren't getting your automatic emails from Cornerstone?
That's right. We were a large. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
A significant portion of our volunteers are coaches that come from school districts, the teachers that are in school districts, and as you probably know, school districts have very strict firewall settings, and so our emails were not going through those firewalls. So when we were able to implement the SMTP to go, we're no longer getting those complaints that the coaches are not receiving the messages, or it's a very infrequent that we do get the message. And so, yeah, they were not receiving the emails at all. We were able to confirm through the email logs that Cornerstone was, in fact, sending them, but it was the firewall of the place where they were checking their email that wasn't getting through. Because many of them had used their work email addresses. If we resent it to like a Gmail or a home account, it would get through. It was specific to their school setting.
Okay. Great. We have
for us anyway. There may be others. So you have a lot of schools that are blocking the emails?
Yeah, just our organizations, and we haven't had much luck with GPS with figuring out what that is, so this is helpful. Great.
There's a booklet. Camille, do you have, I can't remember the name of my head. Amy, I can send it to you. There's a little workbook. It's like maybe like a 5-page document that walks you through the setup process with a series of questions. Amy, we can send that over to you so you can share it with the group. We got it from Jackie, who was our account manager for a while. And once we provided that information, that content was how we coordinated with GPS to get it set up. And the nice thing about SMTP to go is you can change your subscription monthly. So, for example, at the start of our season, we have a considerable peak. So I can increase our number of allowed emails in that particular month, and then drop it back down to the lowest amount for the rest of the year. So for those of us, I think we're all nonprofits on a budget, so you're able to just go in and monthly tweak it. So if you can anticipate demand for the month or two where your high demand is, bump up your subscription for those 2 months and then drop it back down to the lower amount to help save some money.
That's great.
The other nice thing.
Oh, sorry. This is Kelly Mendoza. We're also trying to figure out. We work explicitly with schools and districts, and one of the things, does the SMTP to go allow you to track opens and clicks? Because we really can't tell if somebody can't open it, and so that's part of the problem. Is just we may not even know in the first place.
Yes, it does. It does. So the first thing is, of course, check through Cornerstone, make sure the email was sent. Once you confirm that, you can go to SMTP to go and look through their dashboard, and they have standard kind of email metrics. What's really nice is you can see if it's a bounce. It even distinguishes between a hard or a soft bounce. Soft bounce is just that the email box is full. A hard bounce means it's a bad address. And so it can give you tips. It tells you if it bounced, it'll tell you some ways to troubleshoot to try and identify the problem. So that way you can also see trends. So if you see a whole bunch that have some sort of issue, like the one that Camille mentioned, where we went to the school district and had our address get whitelisted, was because we saw a whole host of emails that were having bounce issues. We realized they all had the same domain name, and so we contacted that school district and got whitelisted, and we think that fixed the problem. We may need another season to confirm that, but it helps you identify trends as well. So if you see a particular school district that's got a tight security settings, you can work with them and maybe get that whitelisted so your emails start to get through.
Great. The other thing, and I don't know if there's a way to fix this, is we So we don't have that kind of service right now, but we are setting up new users, and with one particular district, with a lot, you know, maybe hundreds of, at least hundreds of new users, we get you have to actually click a confirmation email, and there's probably no way for you guys to know how to resolve this, but you know, in order for them to know that you're like a verified party, their email, even though we're whitelisted, will send us a return email, and you have to click on each individual one to confirm that you're a real, you know, entity. Oh, wow. So I don't know if anybody knows a way around something like that to do it in mass instead of having it click through each individual one.
Well, I don't believe we've encountered that. Camille, have you come across anything like that?
That has happened. We don't have a solution other than, it doesn't happen that frequently for us for it to be considered a major problem. I really think that, I don't know, I really think that contacting the organization to be whitelisted should fix that, but there's not, I don't have any other solution other than just clicking on, I do monitor those emails as well when they come in, clicking to verify.
Okay, thanks.
This is Erica from Darkness to Light. Can you all hear me? Oh, yeah. We work with a lot of school districts across the country, and we have had success with, if you contact the school district's IT, that they will be able to allow because a lot of our emails are getting blocked, all of the automated emails. And so if they're able to add you to an approved list, then the emails will start to go through.
Cool.
So yeah, I think this discussion is really helpful because the email delivery rate was definitely a large concern for us in the first couple of seasons of implementation. Some of the most common end user issues are the famed forgot username and forgot password issues. And then also our coaches were reporting some issues with the online courses. And so I guess I'll start at the bottom really. So our online courses, there were some completion issues, and we outsourced the creation of our online courses to an e-learning consultant. And so we learned through trial and error that there were some settings on the back end. Basically, she had to tell the file that to recognize completion as a couple of slides or frames before the module was actually finished. And so that helped us with reports of the module not being marked as complete when the user finished. And the module not loading, having pop-up blockers enabled was a huge challenge for us for a long time. And I know with this most recent release, that shouldn't be an issue anymore, which is awesome. But one of the things that we did to mitigate that challenge were we set up a Lightbox, a pop-up window that comes up every time anyone logs into the system. You can't click on anything else until you read and dismiss the box. And so the box is reminding users to use Google Chrome, which is our recommended internet browser. Sorry, that word couldn't come to me. And also to disable their pop-up blockers. In addition, the user resource document that every coach is assigned talks about the pop-up blocker issue, and the welcome email that the coaches receive when they're assigned training contains instructions to disable their pop-up blockers. And so we just put so much emphasis on that when this new release came out, we were like, oh, well, everybody should be good by now. And let me think. As far as these issues go, I would like to jump into the system and just show you the how the system looks from an end user perspective really quickly, and then some of the troubleshooting resources that we offer our council system admins. So I'm going to log into my pilot portal as a coach. In the meantime, I will go to my production portal as an admin and visit our Connect community for council system admin resources. So we've broken up our resources into ongoing training, which would be information about recent releases that have come out, as well as more advanced topics that we don't expect a new CSA coming in to really use in their first time coming into the system. So we consider ILT to be one of those advanced topics. There are just so many considerations for a council who wants to use the ILT feature. And more councils are using it every season, but that's something that we categorize as ongoing training along with updates and things like that. And then we have the initial training available at all times here, as well as the training webinars are available as learning objects. And then our CSA resources folder, which is the most used. And this is where we keep most of our resources for them to come in. We have a coach-facing how-to guide that the council can distribute directly to their coaches or copy and paste from to reply to coaches when they're responding to emails. And then we have a council system admin-facing troubleshooting guide, and the whole entire troubleshooting guide is encompassed in the council system admin user guide. So this is what our portal looks like from a coach's perspective, and this is the light box that pops up that very clearly states that the coach needs to disable the pop-up blockers. And we have customized our landing page with these icons that are meant to mimic the design of our council websites. So the user interface just is very seamless. And also to provide multiple avenues for the coach to be able to perform different functions. For example, to access their training, they could go to learning, they could go to My Assigned Training, or they could go to the Assigned Training widget down here. So we are very big on multiple avenues to access different areas of the system. I do want to I will. Let me see. So looking ahead, we have a governance document that is currently in the works, and we have been having a blast compiling all of the nuances of our system, and we have a template that we're working from, and some of the discussions of our regional user group meeting have been really helpful in us compiling our governance document. And we're also excited about the release of Connect Streams. One huge support tool that I forgot to mention is that when I'm supporting the councils, I use WebEx to screen share with them. Almost every single call that I take, I will say, hold on for a second, let's join my WebEx room. And I'll get them into the WebEx room, and it really helps for me to be able to walk them through step-by-step what they're doing, and those are just totally impromptu conversations that I always take into a WebEx room. And so when Connect Streams happens, I'm really excited to be able to perform that function of support within the Learning Academy. and use that communication feature there. And I think that our admins will be able to use that as well to communicate with each other. So we're definitely looking forward to using ConnectStreams to support the council system admins when the time comes. So were there any other questions at this point, or any other suggestions or ideas?
Hey there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. So this is Keith from AdvancedNet Labs. So one of the things we'll be excited to communicate to the group in a little bit is we're about to take a different approach to end user support, leveraging email, the case management systems with some prioritization and routing, and be able to support kind of end users in that way, where including some live chat and pieces like that for our end user support. And so we're using a tool called Freshdesk, and we're supporting, actually, we're doing the install now to support multiple clients at the same time. So if anybody had any thoughts or cautionary tales, that'd be great. Otherwise, we're going to have a boatload of them the next time we get together.
Does anyone want to speak to, are people using outsourced help desks? I know there's a few of you out there. I'm going to try to release the poll results, but just knowing you, I know that there's, you know, a handful of outsourced help desks, and then some have their internal IT providing help. Anyone else would be willing to sort of share the story of how they're supporting their users? Don't be shy.
Yes, this is Erica, Darkness to Light. I always talk, sorry. But we outsource our IT, just kind of basic IT. We do password resets, what is your username, help with troubleshooting with registering for courses, or maybe they are re-registering for a course that they've already completed and need a new certificate. That happens a lot for us. So we've created some user guides for our outsourced IT, and then have also done some in-person training for them as well. And then we've also given them admin, a security role, where they're able to have full admin rights as well to our platform.
Yeah. I know one issue that we've talked to over the years, and I think you've had the relationship with this help desk for a long time, and Keith, maybe something for you to consider too, is that it seems that an extended enterprise model, if you will, of help desk support is one that sort of throws some help desks for a loop, or is at least a different model, or becomes extremely expensive when you can't clearly estimate how many tickets or how many users you'll be supporting, because it often fluctuates in the cases with, you know, sort of extended and non-employee use cases. So I know that's, I don't know if people have found that to be the case, or is at least a little bit out of the norm for the exploratory conversations that some people have had.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely an issue for us just in the very beginning, and we evaluated it as time went on with them, and were able to negotiate a better contract once they were able to get, I think it was after the first year we really looked at that, because, you know, we're constantly out there looking for new customers, clients, and for instance, we brought on an entire state education system, and our calls went through the roof, and that really just threw them for, you know, put a wrench in their, like, staffing. They weren't prepared. Of course, we're constantly communicating. If something like that were to ever happen again, we would let them know, you know, look, we're going to be training 200,000 people. But then that also in return comes back to us on the number of calls that they have to handle, and then we have to pay for as well. But we've built that in. Now we account for that when we really talk about what is the per person cost to train someone. It's not just, okay, this is the cost that we pay Cornerstone, or this is the internal staff cost. It's also built in now with our external IT as well.
Yeah. Thanks, it's helpful. How are others doing it? see who else we have on the line. Becca, are you there? I think your model is interesting too because you really support so much going on in the organization. Are you still there?
Hey, Amy, this is Ty.
Oh, hi, Ty. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi. We're using a dual approach. So this is, I'm sorry, for everyone who do not know, I'm with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. We're kind of using a dual approach where we have we're contacted with Integral Solutions who have been providing help desk support to our external field-facing end users, basically our clubs. However, we do also have internal administrative support for our administrators, and that's basically been managed all by me. I'm also managing the Integral Solutions, but they are handling just basic system navigation, maybe like course completions whenever someone's having problems completing courses, pop-up blockers, things of that nature. Email like resets and all that kind of stuff. Since we're using single sign-on through our BGCA.net system, then they have to forward that to our internal IT. So they basically have certain inquiries in which they are able to assist with, and then all others they will either pass on to our internal help desk team or to myself to resolve. So we just have like quarterly meetings to kind of update them on the different learning objects that we put out, any new catalog offerings, so that way when they start to get these questions regarding different events and stuff like that that we're planning, that they're able to at least answer those questions that they're getting.
Hey, Ty, this is Erica from Darkness to Light again. That's really interesting. We also use Integral Solutions.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah, they told us they had another Cornerstone client, but didn't want to share who, obviously, because of confidentiality, but that's really interesting to know.
Did you just start using them? I feel like you made
that connection. I think you introduced them to Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, maybe. Okay, maybe. It might have been Cindy.
I think it was Cindy. Yeah, I think that started from you. I think because Ty, it hasn't been all that long, I'd imagine, or have you been with them for a long time?
No, since we launched in May.
Yeah.
Look at that. I'm glad it worked out.
Yes, this is the connecting the dots part of my job. That's one of my favorites. So yes, I like when that all happens. Good, I'm glad that worked. Anyone have any, in the last few minutes, any particular challenges or struggles they want to raise, on this topic and get any input on? Any successes, anything that you've done that's really worked and solved a lot of issues? Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I pushed out the results of the poll. For some reason, I can't see the list of most common issues, which I was really interested in. So I'm hoping that maybe when I save this or end the session, that those will come through. But it does look like there's predominantly, and you'll see that, you folks on the phone or in your teams, for the most part, are the ones providing support directly with some groups having outsourced and internal, and it seems like there is a combination of all three too, which is why I think the numbers are so high, is that they're not exclusive. People are generally somewhat confident about their approach. I would ask, you don't need to identify yourself, but if you're not the one that's not very confident, feel free to reach out afterwards, or I'm happy to make connections, and if I know which group you are, we can figure out who is sort of most similar in your approach, and see if we could help strengthen your confidence levels. And then it looks like from a timing perspective, about 8 to 12 hours per week are estimated, which you know, I think I don't know if there's any industry standard or benchmark we compare against here. You know, we'd all love that to be lower, and I think over time the numbers do tend to decrease, but over time your numbers of users also tend to increase. So those things sort of happen at, you know, the opposite rates, which probably do even each other out. But, you know, the goal is always to reduce those hours, of course. So hopefully you learned some tricks here, or, you know, sparked some ideas, or, you know, we can have some follow-ups if there is anything that you think would be helpful to apply to your particular scenario. Camille, I will work with you and Sharon to collect maybe some of the corollary resources that you talked about, and we can post them up on Connect with the recording that I'll send out to everyone, so you can send to people on your teams that maybe weren't able to attend. And then I will, you know, we'll get something on the calendar, another one of these probably in January or February. You can look from me coming in the next few weeks. I'm planning on sending out just for the year-end feedback survey on how things are going, you know, what we can focus on for the next year. And on that, I'm going to ask if you've got some suggestions of other topics that you'd like to see covered when we get together. But all that said, I would say, Camille, thank you so much. I found that really interesting and helpful, and I think how you structured it. Oh, it's actually perfect timing. Sounds like I'm getting a shot. With that,
you want me to sing over the top of it, Amy?
Totally. I'll do a little interpretive dance as well. Okay, thank you all. Please feel free to follow up if you have any questions, or you know, want to follow up with anyone directly. And have a wonderful day.
Thanks, guys. Great session.